Today is December 9th, 2025. Today we are on day 9 of Advent. So, please grab your Bibles and you can join me in the book of John, chapter 9. Before I get started, I wanted to tell you what I meant from the end of yesterday's stream. Chapter 9 of the book of John is a very important chapter, to me, at least. It's the story of how Jesus heals the blind man. Now, this is important to me because this was the very first sermon I heard at the First Baptist Church of Imperial Lakes when I started going regularly. So this has a very important weight to me. It's also a wonderful story. The moral of the story in this book in that chapter, is own your truth. The truth that you know in your heart is the truth. So, if you're ready, chapter 9 of the book of John. And as Jesus passed by, he saw a man which was blind from his birth. And his disciples asked him, saying, Master, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? See, that was the way people thought back then. If you were born with some sort of an illness, like deafness, lameness, blindness, it must have been because either you or your parents sinned, because God's wrath was upon that person. But that's not the case at all. Jesus answered, Neither hath this man sinned, nor his parents, but that the works of God should be made manifest in him. I must work the works of him that sent me while it is day. The night cometh, when no man can work. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When he had thus spoken, he spit on the ground and made clay of the spittle. And he anointed the eyes of the blind man with the clay, and said unto him, Go, wash in the pool of Siloam, which is by interpretation, sent. He went his way therefore, and washed, and came back seeing. The neighbors and they which before had seen him that he was blind said, Is this he? Is this not he? Is not this he that sat and begged? Some said, This is he. Others said, He is like him. But he said, I am he. Therefore they said unto him, How were thine eyes opened? And he answered and said, A man that is called Jesus made clay and anointed my eyes, and said unto me, Go to the pool of Siloam and wash. And I went and washed, and I received sight. And they then said they unto him, Where is he? And he said, I know not. If you also notice, the Jews never said the name Jesus. This man who was blind and now can see, openly said his name. They brought to the Pharisees him that aforetime was blind. And it was the Sabbath day when Jesus made the clay and opened his eyes. Then again the Pharisees also asked him how he had received his sight. He said unto them, He put clay upon my eyes, and I washed, and I do see. So now you notice that that the man who was blind just said that Jesus was as he before the Pharisees. Again, own your truth because you know what the truth is. Therefore, said some of the Pharisees, this man is not of God, because he keepeth not the Sabbath day. Others say, how can a man that is a sinner do such miracles? And there was a division among them. And they said unto the blind man again, what sayest thou of him, that he hath opened thine eyes? He said, he is a prophet. But the Jews did not believe concerning him, that he had been blind, and received his sight, until they called the parents of him that had received his sight. And they asked them, saying, is this your son, who ye say was born blind? How then doth he now see? His parents answered them and said, we know that this is our son, and that he was born blind. But by what means he now seeth, we know not, or who hath opened his eyes, we know not. He is of age, ask him, and he shall speak for himself. The Pharisees are completely missing the miracle. A man was blind and could not see, but now his eyes are open and he can see. And they are totally missing that. These words spake his parents because they feared the Jews. For the Jews had agreed already that if any man did confess that he was Christ, he should be put out of the synagogue. Therefore said his parents, he is of age, ask him. Then again, they called they the man that was blind, and said unto him, give God the praise, we know that this man is a sinner. He answered and said, whether he be a sinner or no, I know not. One thing I know, that whereas I was blind, now I see. Then they said unto him again, what did he to thee? What did he to thee? How opened he thine eyes? And he answered them, I have told you already, and ye did not hear. Wherefore would ye hear it again? Will ye also be his disciples? Then they reviled him, and said, thou art his disciple, but we are Moses' disciples. We know that God spake unto Moses, as for this fellow, we know not from whence he is. The man answered and said unto them, why herein is a marvelous thing, that ye know not from whence he is, and yet he hath opened mine eyes. We now know that God heareth not sinners, but if a man be a worshipper of God, he doth his will, he heareth him. Since the world began, it is not heard that any man opened the eyes of one that was born blind. If this man were not of God, he could do nothing. They answered and said unto him, thou wast altogether born in sins, and dost thou teach us? And they cast him out. Jesus heard that they cast him out, and when he had found him, he said unto him, dost thou believe on the Son of God? He answered and said, who is he, Lord, that I might believe on him? And Jesus said unto them, thou hast both seen him, and it is he that talketh with thee. And he said, Lord, I believe. And he worshipped him. And Jesus said, for judgment I come into this world, that they which see not might see, and that they which see might be made blind. And some of the Pharisees which were with him heard these words, and said unto him, are we blind also? Jesus said unto them, if ye were blind, ye should have no sin. But now ye say, we see, therefore your sin remaineth. And that was chapter 9 of the book of John. I do hope you guys enjoyed this, because tomorrow, chapter 10, we start to get into what are those things called? Stories that Jesus tells, the parables that Jesus tells. One of them, of course, being the most famous of them all. So, until tomorrow, may God be with you.